Hello everyone, welcome back to edX Pixel Expo 8 monthly webinar global webcast August series happening every 8th of the month. So do stay tuned. And also thank you to all for joining us in this stunning Sunday to pre-celebrate Singapore's 56th birthday as we come together to unite over a united cause, that is our love for diving and also the ocean. So especially for this particular session, please like or share or even comment on this live post, and you get to stand a chance to receive a free Asian Diver e-magazine Scuba 101, the essential guide to Southeast Asia Collector's Edition. So I have here a very interesting and special session to celebrate our Singapore waters. And together with our invited guest today is none other than Mr. Ramzan Salim, or affectionately known as Ram, as he takes us through his journey in discovering Pedra Branca's shipwreck. So hi Ram, how are you?
Hi Nora, thanks for having me here. It's been a pleasure.
Okay, just a little bit of introduction of who Ram is, just in case everybody is not, known of. Ram is actually a salvage master, and he started diving in 1987 and has taken his passion and love of the sea to a full-time career straight after school. So he started as a salvage diver and worked his way up the career ladder with various positions, from diver medic technician to dive supervisor to dive superintendent, and lastly as a salvage master, where he led team to respond to maritime casualties worldwide in their endeavors to avert environmental catastrophes. So although he is currently more involved in project planning and logistical aspect of operations these days, Ramzan will jump at the first chance to get wet every now and then when the opportunity arises itself in the project of any cause. So Ram, welcome to edX, and with an illustrious career, Ram has actually prepared a short video for every one of us to have a look, and also to set the scene of how the condition is like, at Pedra Branca. So, Alfrance, let's have a look at it. Thank you so much, Franz. Thank you so much, Ram, for sharing with us that video. I must say the water is rather choppy, and for the benefit of everyone that is viewing, would you be able to share with us, for those who have not heard of Pedra Branca, where is it, and how's the water condition is normally like over there?
All right. Pedra Branca is actually on the east side of Singapore. That's pretty much the gateway to the South China Sea. That's where the South China Sea converges uh, to become the Singapore Strait. So that's actually creating a natural bottleneck. Uh, just imagine the vast expanse of the South China Sea just going through a small channel, which is the Singapore Strait, and that's also where the waters from South China Sea goes over to the Straits of Malacca and vice versa. So yeah, naturally you can expect a very horrific water conditions in that area.
I see. So I can imagine, like, from the from above, you can see such very uh, rough conditions, and then I can only imagine what happens undercurrent.
Yeah, well, also, it's very exposed to the northeastern monsoon. Actually, that was one of the problems we had uh, to go over to the location to carry out our wreck removal jobs because even though it happened in December of 2014, we were not able to go there till somewhere in February just to let the weather conditions subside.
I see. So Ramzan actually have prepared some couple of pictures of the sites at Pedra Branca, and my colleague Alphonse will be toggling here and there. All right. So Ramzan, I would also like to ask, looking at the condition as such, perhaps you can tell us a little bit more about your the safety effect of diving in such condition, and what kind of gears do you use uh, to dive at Pedra Branca?
Okay, well, especially in the past couple of decades, whenever you do any work, uh, scuba diving gears are actually gradually being phased out. And even in those rare circumstances where they do allow scuba, there will be a lot of in-house requirements that you have to fulfill before you can actually don your scuba gear and jump into the water. Um this approach, or rather, this is necessary to actually reduce the amount of casualties or human casualties, rather.
I see. Okay. All right. Ram, can you also share with us what is your role during this project upon the discovery of Petra Branca? And then also, could you tell us the story of how it all started? Like who actually stumbled upon it? And then after that, what goes on after that? What is the journey? I guess it's time for us to retrospect, you know what I mean?
Okay, well, what happened was there was a barge carrying two cranes that ran aground uh, within like 30 meters away from Pedro Branca. And because the cargo it was actually much higher than that, what you see at the bottom of the screen to your right, they were at the risk of toppling over to the historic lighthouse. So our task was then to remove those cranes and that barge. Um, so that was how it came. Pedro Branca's job came about. Now, upon removal or completion of the removal of the barges and the debris, we were obligated to do a post-removal survey, and that entails having the divers swimming around that area where the barge ran aground. And that was when Ahmad, one of the divers who unfortunately couldn't make it to today's session, stumbled upon what he thought were plates. Well, I was kind of skeptical at first until I told him, well, you finish whatever you have to do first, and then I'll make a short dive afterwards to verify if they were indeed plates that you found. And yeah, about two 2 hours later, I did a dive in scuba gear this time. And indeed, they were actually antiquated plates or artifacts. And that was how the first wreck was discovered back in March or April 2015.
I see. Wow, that's quite an adventure, I must say that, like something that is chance upon and to be something that is pretty epic finding. So, Ram, can you also, perhaps tell us a little bit more, like upon this stumble and also chancing of this particular artifact, which is the plate itself, and then eventually looking into, you know, uh, to find out that there are other shipwrecks that is available there. Could you also share with us like how was the excavation and also the salvaging process is like? Has it been a difficult one? And also, what if you can actually tell us some challenges that you can share with us and the edX community, like I can only imagine how difficult it is considering the currents and the visibility. So to bring up such artifacts must be quite challenging.
Okay, well, the visibility in and around Pedra Branca can actually be very good. On an average, you'll get like 5 meters of underwater visibility, and on very, very good days, you can even have it up till like 12 meters. Um, Again, like I said, the because of that location being very exposed to the north eastern monsoon, so whatever jobs or projects you have to do over there will be very much weather dependent. Um, when I found the artifacts, when I did the dive to verify it, we were actually just in a rubber dinghy, so I couldn't like take up like a big haul. So we just took out like 8 items, and then yeah, we were all wondering what to do with it until like a couple of weeks later, there was like a news article uh, showcasing some archaeological finds in Empress Place, and that's where we were guided accordingly as to who are the relevant bodies or authorities to turn to. And it wasn't until about 9 months later that we went out for the first expeditions to verify that what we found were indeed a historical wreck. And this time it was commissioned by the National Heritage Board.
Wow. Okay. So Ram, we noticed like you actually have to deal with a lot of hardware, and I mean, looking at what you guys are wearing, perhaps you can share with us like what is a typical salvage master have to put on when they are diving in such like with such a project that you have in mind, which is to salvage historical artifacts.
Oh, well, the salvage master's job, it's just a glorified name for an offshore project manager, and it's, it's very rare that the salvage master himself will do the dive to verify things or whatever. But on this particular one, in fact, throughout the job, I only did like two dives where the barge was concerned, and that was to verify some operational issues. But other than that, I was pretty much on the deck managing the whole operations itself. It wasn't until Ahmad came and said that he may have found some artifacts that I actually donned my scuba gear and did the dive.
I see. Okay. Okay. Right. So back to the finding and the discovery of the not one but I think two wrecks, right? Ramzan, if I'm not wrong, as we read in the latest coverage in media. Perhaps you can tell us a little bit more about these artifacts that you found. I think you did share with us some pictures with regards to some of the artifacts that you have, and I'll have my colleague to show to yes, correct. So these are the one that is shared by you, and this is what that was found. Perhaps you can tell us a little bit more.
Uh, when we found these, the whole process of excavation on this first wreck lasted till the end of 2019. Of course, we were not diving there every day, like I mentioned earlier, because uh, working in Pedra Branca is very much weather dependent, and also you have the issue of logistics, you have the issue of permits and clearances and all that. So they will go out for like a couple of weeks and then they'll stop, and then a couple of months later they'll go out again and do the excavation. It wasn't until the end of 2019 when they finished it, and they decided to do a survey. I think it was with the site scan survey. That was where they found the second wreck. Um, and then they've started excavating on that second wreck too, from 20, yeah, from the beginning of last year, pretty much.
I see. So, you did mention that there are certain terms with regards to these plates. One is called the Celadon plates, and also another one.
The blue
Some
and whites.
yes, that's why the blue and white. Perhaps you can. Yes, this is the one that is the blue and whites.
Yeah.
Could you tell us a little bit more about what do you know about these two plates?
All I know is Celadons predates back to a way further era than the blue and whites. The blue and whites came about into existence, I think, only in the 17th or 18th century thereabouts. Celadons, of course, it's the greenish stuff that looks like jade, and um, you know, as with jade, that is like a kind of a precious stone or semi-precious stone or whatever, and that was the in thing perhaps before the existence of the blue and whites. I couldn't express it in a point of view that connoisseurs will do it because I'm no experts in this, but I do appreciate good uh, good pottery products when I see them, especially with historical value.
Right. So Ramzan, you were mentioning just now the dates of these artifacts, and I must say that I've read upon the article that was recently published, that was recently released, and they said that these two shipwrecks actually exist beyond pre-colonial times. So this is a while back, and what are your thoughts, because you do work closely with the people that's managing this excavation, and I'm sure they do share some little the updates with regards to this. So in your opinion, what do you how do you how do you feel when you found out that this is findings that is beyond really long time ago? It could be I don't know, it could be even Sangnila Utama time. So what are your thoughts when you first got to know about this?
Oh, I may be shot down by fervent historians and all that, but they said that history is written by the victors. So what we were taught in schools was like 1819. It was when Sir Stamford Raffles came about and then fired a couple of volleys to give respect to the local fishermen, yada yada yada. But as you can see, that these stuffs, these items, if they were like 700 years old, and the fact that the same pieces were actually found in mainland Singapore, which was at Emperor's Place, that already pretty much shows that Singapore was already a bustling hub way before uh, Singapore as we know it was found. So perhaps, like you said, Sang Nila Utama, Majapahit, or whatever, it was already a bustling trading hub. And the fact that these items were found some I don't know, nearly 100 miles away from where they were found in mainland Singapore. So it shows that this whole region was a thriving hub of
Yep,
trade,
indeed.
perhaps. Yeah.
Yep, indeed, Ram. I guess it during that time, I think it must be an amazing sight to see what goes on and what's being exchanged then. Okay, I have one last question. Are there any plans for the what is being discovered to be exhibited in the near future, or for any public viewing in terms of exhibition wise?
I believe, again, based on the articles published when this was put out on mainstream media, I do believe that they have the intention of displaying these items in some museums. Uh, I'm not quite sure when, but hopefully it'll be pretty soon, so that more people can really come up close and personal and appreciate a piece of history that could actually have a relevant impact to Singapore.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you any lesser, Ram. All right, Ram, I think we are coming to an end. But before that, we have some questions from some of the audiences that was picked up along social media and also on our Instagram account. So one of it is, in your years of experience diving professionally, do you think there are more shipwrecks or treasures to be found in Singapore that is waiting to be discovered?
I believe there are, or there is, or however you want to look at it. I'm not talking about the derelicts or the modern ships or boats that were abandoned or left behind by the previous owners, but Singapore being at, at at its location as it is, um, as a gateway. So if you like, servicing India or China or Europe and all that, it's like it could be like you can even say like it was like a transit point. Um, I believe there are some write-ups in terms of earlier trades, but I can't pull it up right now. But I do believe there indeed may be other wrecks here just waiting to be found. Whether or not they'll be in restricted waters, that's another question, of course, but hopefully not. So I can have that opportunity or that potential to stumble upon it on the next dive.
That put it in a very interesting position. Around people state that it's nothing interesting at the in the waters of Singapore. I guess that's not totally true, isn't it?
No, no. I mean, yes, I can understand from a leisure diving community point of view that what with the reclamations that's going around Singapore waters and the offshore islands the past 2 decades or so, more and more um, dive locations have lost its glitter, so to speak. All you find will be like those sandy coral chips instead of live corals. But hey, that's one of the byproducts of the ever expansion of the island. But then every now and again, you find two people who are lucky enough to stumble upon something that could actually change the history of the nation.
Definitely. Okay, we have another question. So due to COVID-19 and we are all landlocked, and I'm sure that, most of us are not diving. This question actually posed to you, Ram. If you were to have an opportunity to do a first dive, where would it be?
Uh, it's it'll probably sound boring to avid leisure divers, but uh, it'll probably be Tioman again because well, my girlfriend just got a scuba diving license, so I would like to accompany her there. And yeah, I haven't been leisure diving now for eons, so I don't know what to do in terms of leisure diving, but it will be an interesting change from diving in oil and using heavy gears into just scuba equipment and appreciate the view.
Well, with lighter equipment, I'm
That
sure.
would like the equipment and doing nothing but blowing bubbles and taking photos.
Yes, indeed. I think that's quite a nice change from what you do professionally, with all those hardcore um, things, which is very important, to be honest. But I have a question though. For commercial divers, do you use dive equipments like rebreathers, or do you use what kind of gas technology do you use? Do you use like trimix or something like that,
All right.
especially
Well,
for this particular excavation project?
for this excavation project, we were just doing air dive because, well, the depth was not that significant. In commercial diving, though, nitrox is getting more and more popular for depths below 50 meters. Anything above that, of course, then we'll have to do on heliox. And then interesting when you mention rebreathers. That's normally done in saturation diving. That's like going into 100 meters and above in saturation diving, which is like a class of its own, pretty much. Um, so that's pretty much it in terms of commercial diving. Is either air or nitrox and heliox and saturation, of course.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ram, for sharing with us. I hate it because like whenever you have good conversation, time always just flew by. So with this, Ram, thank you for your time to especially on a Sunday, to share with us this amazing discovery found in Singapore waters. To be honest, we are very proud of this achievement and also discovery. And thank you to everyone who have worked hard to resurface this piece of Singapore history, and for us to know more of what actually happened in Singapore many years ago. So to everyone within the edX community or who's listening, please do stay tuned to the next session happening shortly, which is titled In Conversation with David Strike, going deeper into diving with Brett Gilliam. And definitely a session not to be missed. And once again, Ram, thank you so much. And we look forward to maybe seeing you in person.
Thanks so much for having me. It's been a pleasure. Yeah, looking forward to.
Thank you, Ram.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.